Hello everyone. Today I'm going to be showing you a speedrun that I just completed of the Aether mod in 18 minutes and 30 seconds. The goal of the speedrun is to travel to the Aether dimension and beat all three of the bosses in the dimension on a randomly generated seed without glitches or cheats. I have been speedrunning this particular mod for a really long time now. I probably started over a year ago, which is kind of crazy. But when I started, I did not think that achieving a time like this was even possible. So super happy to have finally gotten here. And I hope that it continues to get faster and faster. So as you can see, I start the run in an acacia village. Notably, I get an iron pick and 4 iron out of this blacksmith. And that's important because I need the 4 iron to make a bucket and a flint and steel. And that means that I can enter the nether with a lava pool. And then I need the iron pick because the first boss is called the slider, and it can only take damage with an iron with a pickaxe. And while you can use lesser pickaxes like a wood pickaxe or a stone pickaxe, it takes way longer, and you need multiple pickaxes to actually kill it. So it's much more efficient to use a iron pick. Here I see some gravel, and I take that for flint and steel. I also grabbed carrots while I was there. Carrots are not the best food ever, but with 34 of them, it's enough to sustain the entire run, which is a big time save. I don't have to smelt food or anything like that. So it's just a nice way to front load the food of the run. So here I find a lava pool in the desert, and this is a pretty fast enter, especially for 1.12, being in under 2 minutes. So the run's already off to a great start, and I immediately see glowstone, which is great. In case you don't know, the way you enter the Aether is by building a nether portal shape, but with glowstone blocks, and lighting it with a water bucket instead of a flint and steel. So there was glowstone closer to the portal, but I wasn't sure if that patch of glowstone had enough to build the portal. You need a total of 40 glowstone dust to build the portal. So I opted for this one, which was just a little farther, but had a lot more blocks there. So yeah, I'm mining this, and once I have 40, I go back down, and I am ready to enter the Aether. I have everything I need. And now I just need to hope for a good Aether. And what you're looking for is, first of all, to spawn on the island. Sometimes you'll spawn in like mid-air on a cloud, and it's really hard to get anywhere, and you waste a lot of time. But this is the world record speedrun, so you can imagine I did not get that spawn. I spawn on land, and I immediately spot the first dungeon sticking out of this wall, this little rectangular entrance, as you might have seen. You can see it right there under that tree. And that is huge because a lot of times it is just completely buried in the island, or it's not even there at all. But seeing it right there immediately is amazing. I haven't seen the other dungeons yet, but entering the dungeon at 340 is honestly maybe the fastest I've ever had. So this is really quick. This is a nice little trick here. I'm using F3 and looking at the bottom right pretty much to see if the chests are mimics or regular chests. And that's just a way to not accidentally spawn a mimic and have to deal with that. But you still get to check the chests. So I lower my RD here just to minimize the lag while I'm fighting the boss. It's not like this room is particularly big, don't need to be seeing far. But yeah, so I'm choosing to fight this boss the way it's intended to be. by just spinning around and hitting it. It's honestly a pretty fun boss to fight. Really like the design of this boss. Some people who speedrun this mod have chosen a different approach to kind of place blocks on the entry so that when the boss battle starts, it leaves the door open, and then they kind of lure the boss out and pin it against a wall. But personally, I mess it up a lot and end up dying more than just fighting the boss regularly. And you can also argue that it's a glitch, and this isn't glitch of speedrun, so I don't really want to do that. But yeah, here it goes into its second phase where it turns red, starts moving really fast. I take a few hits here, but it's not a big deal. I start playing a little more safe, and I get the kill on the first boss. And here is huge. This is the biggest part of the speedrun. I got what's the second slot in my inventory right now, which is the Valkyrie Lance. That is the best tool you can possibly get in the speedrun, and if you don't get it, it makes it much more difficult. What it does is it lets you reach from a really far distance, which helps you survive the other two bosses and take as little damage as possible. So here I up my render distance, and I'm going to be looking for a silver dungeon as well as a gold dungeon, which are the other two that I have to find, which will be floating in the sky. And you're probably wondering, how do we traverse this landscape? Because it's all just air, and I can't fly. Well, the answer is actually pretty cool. If you find a bunny, which are scattered around the Aether, you can actually put it on your head. And if you use that in combination with the blue slime or the blue cloud blocks that you can get from these slimes, these blue slimes, you can jump into the air with the blue cloud and then float with the bunny on your head. So you can, in a way, sort of glide through the air and just reboost yourself with the blue clouds. It's a really, really creative way that I found from someone else on YouTube who speedran this before I even started to speedrun this mod. So big shout out to them. I don't remember the channel, but I really liked to see that there were already people speedrunning this ahead of time. So yeah, here I see the bunny, and that is huge because a lot of times the bunnies are really hard to find and you can waste a lot of time. But here I find one. I still haven't seen either of the other two dungeons, which is a bit sad. Sometimes they can be really close, but I end up wasting a few minutes here having to look for the next one, which honestly just shows you how fast the speedrun could be, because I lost several minutes to the dungeons being far here. So I personally think that eventually someone will probably get a time that is under 15 minutes, under 14 minutes, but it's going to take a lot of work, a lot of resetting, a lot of time to get a seed that is capable of that. I try not to be on 32RD as much as I can here because it's really laggy on my computer, but honestly, you kind of just have to find these dungeons. So here I locate the silver dungeon, I start going towards that, and now I'm just keeping an eye out for the third dungeon that I can go to after I beat this one. But yeah, the pace, despite losing some time here to searching, is still great. Still some of the best pace I've ever been on, personally. So I definitely wasn't, like, I haven't lost hope at this point. But I do sort of need to spot a gold dungeon soon. So here I'm collecting these blue clouds, which again let me boost up and glide with the bunny. And And you can see the effectiveness here. And once I jump up immediately to the left there, I see the island of the gold dungeon. And at this point, I'm honestly starting to get a little nervous because I realize that this is definitely a potential world record if I just play it really well and the luck is on my side. So I build up to the dungeon here. And here I'm going to drop the bunny and lock it in this box. And I actually mess up a little, but it's okay. Not too much time lost there. And the reason I do it on this side, which is the opposite of the entrance, is because when you beat the boss, you're actually right on that end. And then you can break through the wall, and I'm right at my bunny then. And I can just go straight from the boss to the next dungeon. So it's just a little bit of a time save with how I chose to orient the pathing there. Yeah, I go up the stairs and I start to summon these angels, which I need to kill to get the keys. I need 10 of these keys to fight the next boss. And this is starting to show the Valkyrie Lance's strength. These angels do a lot of damage, but they can't even hit me once because this lance has so much reach. And it does a lot of damage too, so I'm killing them very fast. And this just makes for a super, super quick silver dungeon. Yeah, occasionally you will not get the Valkyrie Lance, and this might be the hardest dungeon, honestly, without the Valkyrie Lance. So I'm just killing these, and the way you summon these is by stepping on these blocks that are different from the other ones. You can see them on the ground there. They have like a gold square and a black square. And honestly, I don't even know why that one spawns. I assume there's something I don't know about spawning them, but yeah, I have no idea why that one spawned. So here I have the 10 medals now, and I can go up here, and then I find the other staircase, which goes all the way down into the boss's room. And now I start this fight, and here you will really, really see the strength of the Valkyrie Lance. I mean, this boss, like, kills you in, like, 2 hits. Or 3 hits, maybe? But with this Valkyrie Lance, it just seems like a wimp. Like, it just can't really do anything to me. I do have to avoid these blue lightning clouds, though, because if it hits you, it does a lot of damage. And that is pretty much the only way you can die in this battle with the Valkyrie Lance. As long as you maintain distance. So I'm just trying to get crits as much as possible on this, just to kill it as fast as I can. And already it's dead. And I actually kind of forgot to check the chest there. I could have gotten like some armor, but it doesn't really matter. It might even have saved time if there weren't any important items in there. And the important part is that I got the achievement from killing the boss, which is what I personally base the speedrun off of, is when you get the 3rd boss killing achievement. Because otherwise there's no real way of deciding when the speedrun is over. So that's how I personally rank it. So I up my RD here just so I can see where this dungeon is. I know it's this direction generally, but I can't quite see it yet. Now the corner of my eye, I can see it there. And again, I'm just trying to keep my RD as low as possible to keep my FPS as high as it possibly can be, because when you're lagging a lot, that's when some bad mistakes can happen. And as you can see, I still have 23 carrots left. And again, despite being not the best food, when you have that much food of any kind, it's really going to last you a long time. And carrots are actually as good of saturation as bread, which I didn't know in the past. Kind of surprised me. So they're actually not too bad of food. Just doesn't heal as much hunger bar as bread would. So here I'm looking for the entrance to the dungeon. So I go onto this side to see if it's on this side, and it is. So I'm entering the final dungeon here at 14 minutes, which had me super nervous. The previous world record was, I believe, 1940 something. So this is ample time to get the world record. This is the longest boss fight, though, which is worth mentioning. So you gotta leave a good amount of time for this boss. And as you can see, it takes really long to even start the boss. You have to right-click on this guy for a while until you upset him enough to fight you. But also the Valkyrie Lance in this one, you'll see it does a lot of work in here as well. But yeah, it's insane how good the Valkyrie Lance is. So honestly, this is kind of where this run starts to fall apart in terms of its speed. I mean, I did lose a lot of time earlier to finding the dungeon, but this is the other spot I lost a lot of time. As you can see, just really badly missing that first shot. I was pretty nervous, and I anticipated its movement wrong. But yeah, the way you kill this boss is it spawns all these red flying things around, which if you run into will explode on you and hurt you. But these blue crystals, if you hit them back at the boss, it'll deal it damage, and that's how you kill it. And those minions that spawn are when you hit the boss, and they deal a ton of damage, but having the Valkyrie Lance really makes them just not too bad to worry about. And also having the Valkyrie Lance means you can hit this ice crystal at it from any distance, because even that you have extra range on with the Valkyrie Lance. So as you can see, I'm a pretty big fan of the Valkyrie Lance, if you could not tell. Hit that shot, which is pretty nice. This point, the pace is still really good for world record. Got an easy shot there. Yeah, honestly, this is the point in the run where you got to really focus up, because if you start missing these shots, that's when the run falls apart. You can have like a 10-minute boss battle here if you start really missing your shots. It's really important to focus up at this point, because no matter what you did earlier, it really doesn't matter if you have a slow boss battle here. So as you can see, I'm trying my very best to avoid running into the fire here, because that's one of the ways that you'll die in this dungeon. Also, if you run straight into the boss, you'll be lit on fire, and that is pretty bad. So you just kind of want to be running around, avoiding all these things that are going to light you on fire or explode on you. I'm just trying to run around as much as possible. I miss a shot there, which is not too bad. It's just a little bit of time loss. But as you see, I miss another shot here, and that one looked like it would hit it, but it was just a little bit off. And there, I kind of got lucky to not get set on fire there, but I'll take it. And here I think I miss another shot. Yeah, that was pretty bad. It was right there, and I missed it. At that point, the nerves are starting to get to me. I get lit on fire here. Have to kill that guy. I'm just, at this point, just trying to survive. It's a bit chaotic in here. But here I start to regain my, just my cool common collection, I guess. And this is when I realize the boss has one more hit. And here we go. I get the crystal, and I'm just looking for an easy spot, and there it is. And, yeah, that is the speedrun.